Welcome back to Inside Politics. Our guests today, Mary Mancini and Scott Golden. They're both the chairman of the Republican and Democratic parties in the state of Tennessee. Scott, let's talk about these Google ads that you've had some controversy about this week. The party had some Google ads that I think has now admitted that you did put up and did pay for. Why did you decide in those particular ads to hide your name off of those and change the headline and change the URL on them? That sounds like you were trying to do something you wanted to hide about putting that up.
No, actually, I think we wanted to draw people to some of the, I guess maybe some of the mysterious part was letting people go to the Tennessean, but what we wanted to highlight was what the Tennessean had written a series of articles about, which was Mark Brown, the
But the Tennessean says your headlines was not the same as what the headline on their story was.
Well, the advertising, I mean, you know, this is advertising. It's our, you know, the way that we're going to spin it. Of course, we want people to look at the story, but it links to the story. Kind of changing the headline and changing the URL, that sounds like the kind of stuff that people talk about fake news. They talk about what the Russians did in 2016. I'm sure that's not what you meant to do, but you have another series of ads you're doing on the Bredesen campaign, on the Bredesen ads, where you're doing, I call them spoofs. Some people might call them more than that. Yeah.
You're owning up to those say the Republican Party. Why own up to those particular ads, but not the Google ads?
Well, because Google had a policy that you didn't have to, well, they actually just changed their policy as I know we're getting into some tech issues in Washington as they're starting to go before, and certainly the president has had a problem with the way Twitter and Google and Facebook, how they are changing their policy. So they didn't require them to be disclosed as who they were, but they've since changed those policies in order to accommodate the requests. So no, I mean it's advertising. You're trying to draw people's attention to it. We were trying to get people to go to the Tennessean to talk about what Mark Brown had said. You know, some of his comments were pretty rough, and they wrote a series of articles on it. And we want people to take a look at them. So,
Mary, moving over into the governor's race, there has not been a lot of polling on it since the general election, but the first one that's out showed Carl Dean down 11 points. That's probably not where he wanted to be. What's he going to have to do to change that? It doesn't look like even Democrats are convinced he has a chance to win.
So let's look at that. I think the first thing that we need to clear up is who Bill Lee is. Bill Lee is as extreme or more extreme than someone like, say, Diane Black. He's already been on record to say he does not want to expand Medicaid. He is for vouchers. These are the things that, you know, he's for arming teachers in schools. These are the things that are way too extreme for the people of Tennessee. So that's a message that has to get out there, because right now I think it's like, oh, he seems like such a nice guy. The reality is he's not. He's an extremist with extreme positions, and that is not who we are in Tennessee. That is not who we elect statewide.
But if Carl Dean goes in that direction, it's looking like he's going negative, and that generally doesn't help.
Well, so there's another side to this, right? And the other side to this is, and Bill Lee said this in his own commercial, I'm not a politician. Well, you know, sometimes you actually need people who are politicians and who know how to run government. We already had a non-career politician. He was the mayor of Knoxville, but not a career politician, as governor, and he wasn't even able to expand Medicaid with a Republican majority in the state house and the state Senate. So we need someone like Carl Dean who knows how to govern, he knows how to get things done, he understands how government works, and that's the positive about Carl Dean that someone like Bill Lee does not have.
Scott, Bill Lee has been off the air until I think this weekend he's starting his first general election ad. What happened? All the other candidates stayed on the air after August. Wasn't this been a good time to build on his momentum out of August and keep going for that and continue to introduce himself to the people of Tennessee?
Well, there was some ads on the air. The RGA ad,
the outside ad. Well, they're not supposed to be
Bill Haslam,
but they're not supposed to be coordinated. That's kind of interesting that turned out that way. That those ads were on the air while he wasn't. It gave him something on the air that set up.
Sure. I mean, I think that, look, we came off of one of the most expensive Republican primaries in the history of this state, so you have to take a little bit to replenish the coffers and figure out where you are, your messaging. I think Mary said it earlier. There is a different set of folks that vote in November than vote in August, so, you know, you take a little time, reassess. Certainly, I think for most of our candidates, it was take a week off and go see your family for the first time in 2 years. So I think that, you know, it was just a traditional startup. Everybody expects Labor Day to be the day that we kick off, and that's kind of where we are. Right
after the August election, you had all the gubernatorial candidates come together for a little kumbaya session. The picture that your party released for that, all the candidates on stage looked like they'd lost their puppy. It was, I mean, Are you convinced that these candidates are going to be together?
Yes.
And they're going to decide they're going to campaign for Bill Lee, perhaps? Or are they going to just demonstrate they're really for Bill Lee?
Yeah, I mean, so the pictures where they were listening to the speakers, Governor was there, Senator Alexander, Senator Corker, myself, we were all speaking. So that's they were listening to the speeches. But you know, in the rooms when we were getting there, all of them had a good time to catch up, and all of them said, "Look, whatever Bill Lee needs us to do, we're going to do."
Usually, you'd give out the best picture from that. Is that the best one you had? With some of them not even that good?
Well, I mean, there were smiles there. But it was the ones that they were listening. Now, I will say this: we got it together 36 hours after it happened. It took Carl Dean and Craig Fitzhugh a little bit longer to come together. So theirs was later on in the week. So we were pretty happy that everybody got together within 36 hours of the election and basically said, Bill Lee ran a great campaign. He's our nominee. We're supporting him.
Scott Golden, the Republican State Party Chair, is our guest, along with Mary Mancini, the counterpart of the Democratic Party, the state chair of that party. Back to continue our conversation with the two of them after this break.